All right, welcome to Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Romo Athletics and powered by the Rolla Athletic Booster Club. I'm your host, Tom Brown, and today we got the Bulldog wrestlers. We got Coach Marty Hauck, and we got state placers. We got Serenity Tilford, and we have Kayden Kinder. Hey, thanks everyone for being here today.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
All right, so wow, what an experience! I know it's always an exciting time to go to the state tournament. Coach, you had five boy wrestlers, five girl wrestlers, all qualified for state. We're up there. We have two that placed. Serenity, you ended up with fourth place, up from where you last year. You ended up with the fifth place finish. So again, congratulations on 2 years in a row. Kayden Kinder, you last year were state champion in the class 3. This year you finished second. So again, congratulations. I mean, incredible accomplishment, incredible career as well. And coach, you also had a wrestler, Kira Cedarberg, who just missed one win away in that blood round to come back and place in state as well.
Yeah, she wrestled great. It was 0-0 going into the third. We had a stall warning, and so kind of put us in a compromise situation to a degree to where we were going to have to wrestle out of it. So we made an emergency phone call that hey, we got to get out on bottom, and we just came up a little bit short. But she wrestled awesome. Super excited for the future there. I think it's going to really drive her to get to that next level to where she can definitely medal. I think next year she puts the work in, right? Like the mat doesn't lie, unfortunately, right? So that's the beauty and the beast of the sport.
Well, we had talked about that before. Just I can't imagine. It's one thing when I've always been a person who participated in team sports where you're all out there together. And I was talking to Jack Moswitz's parents about that, and just what you go with when it's just you out there. It's not like you can just, I'm going to take a breather and let my teammate jump in. We're not doing WWE tag team stuff, right? And I can't fathom what that's like. Again, and at the stage, I mean, how exciting was that for the both of you to be there and experience that?
Okay. I think it's always exciting because you have the adrenaline of everyone in the crowd cheering for you, and then your coaches, and you're really not, you are out there by yourself. But I think for me, I have a sense of security because I have my coaches in my corner, so it's like, okay, they got me. Even though I'm the one out there who can't hear half the time anyways, so. But I guess it's just that reassurance that they're out there.
You see, I got, what are those right there? What is that? What I got?
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps, okay, go ahead.
It's just fun. It's just fun being in there. And I think the adrenaline's so high that you don't even notice that there's no teammates because your teammates are cheering you on, so.
Well, and that's consistent with what we talked about. I think even last year you talked about that and having that, you don't feel, I mean, in one way you're there and you can tune some stuff out, but you also have all those people behind you. That's a great kind of sense of belonging while you're in the middle of the match. What about you, Kate?
Do your own thing. It's like you're just out there by yourself. It's go with, like, I swear I could wrestle blindfold if I'm touching the kid at all times. It's weird. It's like I don't have like last year I kind of had a match plan because I had a certain move to set up, but this year it's kind of different. Kind of wasn't working because it was better kids, so I didn't advance my wrestling. So I didn't really have a match plan, so I was kind of lost at the beginning of the season. But I figured out that just going out there and wrestling, having fun, and doing your own thing, feeling that.
I love it. So, Coach, I'm going to come back to you on this because what you said, Kate, I'm a basketball guy, right? It doesn't look like it by looking at me, physically maybe, but I'm a basketball guy. And I always loved, I didn't coach plays and teach a lot of plays. What I taught them was how to play.
Yep.
So when the situation arose, you could respond or look at the defense, then you could attack, depending on what they're doing. And I just wanted you to be, one, versatile, but also have the IQ of how to take advantage of situations. And what you described just reminds me perfectly of that approach.
Yeah, well, and I think that's it. We teach positions. I don't teach quote unquote moves. I teach positions, and each athlete is different, right? And that's the beauty of wrestling. Like you said, it's an individual sport, so each athlete finds their strengths, and we've got to play off our strengths, right? Like we don't strategize to not do this because of the opponent. It's no, we're going to get to our game plan or our position that's better. And so putting the kids in more positions and just letting them work through, and then we can show them quote unquote moves from that or options from that to score, right? That's it. And then obviously the higher level you go, the more scouting it becomes. And so really it comes back to the basics of fundamentals, stance, where's your head position, elbows, that stuff. So.
Yeah, love it. So what about the experience overall for the tournament this year? Anything that was different this year from last year? Again, the boys all jumping up to a class size. The largest class girls were in the same class last year. The largest class size for the lady wrestlers. anything different about the experience or anything that, for you and the team?
Coaching side, time switch. So the boys, instead of going in the morning, they went in the evening, so all the time switched. So that kind of changed some things, and we really got to grow. The other thing is, I knew there was a jump. I knew it was significantly better, but to see the actual size of jump, I mean, I've been in every class. I've coached class 1, 2, 3, 4, both on the women so far. And it's when you're looking at that, the jump from class 3 to class 4 was such a significant jump. And we knew we were on the right path, but definitely there's a lot of notes for me that was taken there, and the time switch changed some things.
Well, when reading the post to the article that Dave had done as well, talking about that you've now won in you have a state qualifier in every class in the state of Missouri they offer, every weight.
Yeah, I think we went to the state meeting this last week. We were doing some rule proposals and everything, and nobody knows of anybody other than me that's done that, that's had a state medal in every single category. And that's, I told Kayden at the end, he's a big piece of that history, right? Like, you know, it goes back to several pieces. I mean, both these guys are a piece of that. So super exciting.
And because you won last year at 150, then you placed this year at 157, right?
Yeah.
And Serenity, were you in the same weight class both years?
I was 45 last year. I was 55 this year.
Yeah, and I'll bring up the competitor that he had. He jumped up like 13 pounds. Well, I don't know how many weight classes that is from where he was last year. Which I'm just thinking about a kid that could wrestle that way the year before and put on that much. I mean, I don't know what his build was or anything, but
yeah,
was it kind
He
of
was
I don't even think he was cut that much.
yeah, you just
Because I think he wrestled 150 at the Kansas, the border brawl or whatever they call it, where they wrestled Missouri versus other state. Kansas, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take a look real quick. So Serenity, let's come in and talk about where you've been. Throw a couple little pictures here for the fans to see, and you wrestling at state and everything. So you finished last year 5th in the state. This year you're 4th in the state. 45-6 on the season this year. Wow, that's impressive. And your 2 losses at state was to the same girl.
Yeah, same girl.
And she was a state runner-up last year.
Mhm.
So that's, I mean, it's got to be a challenge. But again, it also it shows where you're at statewide, you know, and to be at that thing. Looking at some of the records, so you're the first 2-time state placer in Rolla high school history. For women, yeah.
Side, yeah.
You're number 2 all-time pinless for both boys and girls.
I think so. That's all right.
Yeah. I do. I did this homework. I was checking on this stuff. I'm like,
I
holy
was trying
cow.
that stuff.
And you have the most pins in a season on the girls' side, right? Both pins in a season. And you didn't start wrestling until your freshman year. You didn't do kids club.
I didn't start wrestling until my freshman year when I was like, I think I want to try wrestling.
And then Coach, I think you said that she didn't get her first win until like halfway through her freshman season.
Freshman season, it was about halfway through.
I got quarantined during the beginning, so.
Oh my COVID stuff. Oh my God. Yeah, that brings up some bad memories.
It brings it back, right?
Yeah. So yeah, what an incredible career. I mean, the legacy that you're leaving behind for all the other female wrestlers wanting to come up. What's that mean to you to have those type of records and knowing that your name's in the record books?
I think to me, it means that it shows other young girls and other girls just wanting to try something that it doesn't matter when you start, it matters the amount of effort that you put into it. And if you truly love something and you truly want to get better at it, you're going to get better at it. If you put the work in, you're going to get the results.
Love
and
it.
that you can do anything you want to.
Love it. So, Coach, what's your thoughts about Serenity and her time here?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the example, right? It shows exactly you come in. Out of the 10 kids that went to state, I think there were 2 that did something outside of necessarily our system, which is great. Like, I love coaches, the coaches coaching our kids. Like, I love that as well. But it also shows that you don't have to do all those things. I mean, 8 out of 10 stayed right within it. She was the one that stayed within our system the entire time. She did go overseas with us, but it was always with one of the Rally coaches. With her. So to show what she's done, it's absolutely incredible. It shows the work, the passion, it shows the beauty of our sport. Is, if you really want to do something, you can do it. But it's like she said, it's going to come down to the effort and the willingness to be coachable, right?
That's great. So Serenity, just looking at, think about it back in time, in any of your 4 years here, what was the time that you really felt, hey, that was my moment. That was my best time on the mat. that I was that good. And so I use the thing is you're going to be sitting 20 years from now, or like me, a lot more than that, telling stories to your kids. What's the moment you're going to tell your kid about, boy, I was really good at this moment? Do you have a match or anything?
I mean, there's a few matches like that where it was like, yeah, I did that. But I think it's probably Marshfield last year at our home. I think it was a dual or try meet. And Coach Hauck told me that if I didn't win that match, that I had to wrestle 140. And not 145 because I had gotten sick and dropped a lot of weight. And so that match was a rough match, but I won the match by 1 point. And I had come out like from underneath there. I don't even know what I was doing, but I got through it. And that was probably a highlight match.
Nice. So, Coach, what's yours?
Completely different than that. And she's one that speaks to our assistant coaches, right? Like our assistant coaches have obviously poured into our program, and the work that they do shows. And so my match for her, anyways, is her blood rounded districts this year.
Yeah.
Like where it comes down, she's losing 6-1. There's 20 seconds left on the clock, and she goes right back to our match plan, right back to the basics that the coaches have poured into her, and she just truly bought into our coaches and the system and the program. And she, not only does she win, she gets the takedown on the fall for the near fall, she also gets the pen, right? And that seals her deal going to state. And I can remember coming back and all the assistants were like, okay, there's a state medal. Like it wasn't instantly like none of the coaches were like, oh, she's going to state. Like it was like instantly like, okay, there's a state medal. Like it literally went from there to there in 20 seconds, and it was super exciting. And so for me, and it also showed every girl and even the guys, because it was one that I talked about to the guys before their district, like you don't give up 1 second before the miracle happens. And at the same point in time, if there's time on the clock, you still got time. And it was one of those things, like that was the match that kind of, I can use that, because we always talk about like with these guys and with everybody else, the seniors that are graduating, they don't get to choose their legacy. It's what lives on, what do others tell about them? And that's going to be something that's a piece of her legacy. Not just the records, like, hopefully eventually all those get broke, but this is a piece that kind of will go on. So.
Great, yeah, thanks. Other question for you. Do you have an inspiration, role model? Who's the person that you use out there to this, or you want to pattern yourself after, or anything like that?
Really a few people. Probably a lot of the seniors that were juniors when I came in as a freshman. Molly Kell, Ryan Garkoffner, they all were kind of the girls. Taylor Heimpaugh, who's now a coach with us. I looked up to those girls because not only for their skills on the wrestling mat, but also just the people that they were. They treated her with kindness, and they kind of took me in. Haley Smith is another one because it was her practice partner. Yeah. And then my best friend Angie Richardson always pushed me to be my best, and I always looked up to her because she did some crazy things when she was injured that she should have done, but she did them.
That's great. So what advice? I don't want to hear about the crazy stuff. We'll keep out of that one. What advice do you have to the underclassmen, the ones that will be carrying on?
The underclassmen, just get out there and wrestle. And if you really want it, put the work in. You're not going to regret putting the work in, but you will regret not putting the work in if you really want it.
Nice. So you did not wrestle Kids Club.
Nope.
And we have a huge Kids Club. We've talked about it before. It's a great program here, really, and it's really fun to really aligned well with the high school program. But so there's all those young kids coming out. What advice do you have for those young ones? Because they're showing up at your events, right? And you guys interact with them at the practices, showing up some of their open stuff. So I know that's out there. So as you as the role model for that younger generation, what do you got to say to them?
For them coming into wrestling and coming into it, try different things. Don't just stick to one thing if you don't want to. If you're curious about something, try it. Because that's how I got into wrestling. So you never know what your passion's going to be. So try everything and see what you want to do.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, now we're going to jump in here to Kayden Kinder.
Yeah.
Kayden, man, I've been waiting all day. I was working on some stuff here for you. Not just joking. You're going to pull up some special ones for you. So, and again, got a nice little thing here on Kayden. So you're 157. That's where you wrestled. You're three-time district champion. Mm-hmm. Defending Class 3 state champion, finished second this year in Class 4. You lost to the number 1 ranked wrestler who was 44-0 in the season. He was also defending state champ, and as we talked earlier, he was wrestled like 13 pounds less than that. You were 50-5 on the season.
Yeah.
And that's the most wins in all of Class 4 wrestling.
Really?
Yeah. Seriously?
Yeah.
And there you go, okay, not even aware of that stuff. I mean, so again, I mean, you were there last year, you knew coming into this, you know, the level of competition was gonna be different, you know, the skill set, this, everything, the experience that they've had. And I remember us talking about that, and you were like, dude, I'm just gonna go do my thing.
Yeah.
You know, you weren't, I'm just gonna do my thing.
Yeah. Didn't stress about it.
Yeah, so what was it like this year at state? What was your kind of mindset? What experiences, takeaways, or, you know, just being up there this year?
I went into it confident, like last year. My plan was winning it. I don't know. The competition was tougher, so it obviously had more doubts and stuff. But I just pushed through that, and then losing to some kids in like districts when I beat a kid that beat me earlier in the year, it got my confidence up. Just made me realize how good I am and what I'm capable of.
It's always good to have that positive reinforcement on that, isn't it? And it has to come from you. Coaches can say everything they want, but it has to come from you and your experience and your mindset to kind of change that thing over. Coach, you in the article on that you shared with Dave, you talked about some semifinal pin that was like a legacy moment.
That's the match. That's my match for him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, it's that was a match that we'd wrestled him earlier, and I don't think we got out from him, you know, before. And then to this point, it's funny because he was talking about confidence. Like, I think that he went into the state tournament with more confidence than I had ever seen him. Like, he was just not carefree. He was more focused. He was more focused, and you could tell through his confidence, and it was unbelievable. And I was like, man, I could see it in the coaches, the assistant, going back to our assistant coaches, and I talked about it quite a bit. It was just like, man, like, he's gonna have a great tournament. Like, the table's set. Like, he's just gonna make a run. We're gonna shock everybody. It's gonna be awesome. And definitely his semifinal match, just the confidence in the voice that he had, that self-control kind of insanity that he had, where he was just, I mean, he took him down, just controlled the match from top to bottom, and didn't want to get in any careless position. And then he did at the right time with the right thing, being a Greco guy. He didn't walk his hips out. The kid tied up with us, and he didn't walk his hips out. He walked his hips in and just launched him. And it was absolutely beautiful. Like, it was a great throw. It was like the fans went crazy. Like, everybody went nuts.
Is that my first one all year?
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it was one of those. It was one of those moments that if you're gonna hit that move, you know, you can have the right move at the wrong time, and it's the wrong move. But it has to, like, it was just time perfect. It was just a piece of art. Like, it was awesome, and it was just carefree. And he just threw it, and it was just like, even the coaches, as we got done, he probably doesn't remember this because once we went off to the side and everything else, like, all the coaches, they were sitting with it. There's a coaches section, like, all of them were, you know, just like, man, that was awesome. Like, that was awesome. Semifinal night, to do what he did, like, it's tough against a tough kid to do that and to control it the way that he did the match, and then to hit, you know, the move that he hit. Pretty priceless. Like, I loved it. Like, it was awesome. And that speaks to him, right? Like, he just truly had fun. He's been so fun to coach just because he competes. Like, he literally competes. Like, if there's somebody that you want to go to war with, like, if it's a match, like, you know, hey, let's go. Like, you're in the Army because you know he's going to compete. He's going to give you what he's got. It's awesome. So, anyways.
Like it. So what was your, same question I asked Serenity, if you had a match to go back and tell your kids about 20 years from now, and something you're going to be hanging out with the guys going, oh man, there was this one moment, man, I knew at that moment it was the best performance I ever had. What moment is that?
Well, I don't really want to tell my kids how good I was, so they don't have to expect to be that good. So they're not like worried about accomplishing what I don't.
I wasn't expecting this from you, man. Dude, you're a wise younger year, Kayden. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting that. Cause I'd be like, oh yeah, you don't want none of this.
Yeah, I don't want them to have stress because it sucks. Stress sucks.
Yeah.
Especially being a returning state champion, it was a stressful year.
Yeah.
But I ended up having a good run.
Yeah.
But probably my semifinals, I tossed him on his head twice. It was pretty awesome. The second one was like a head nod. I don't even know. I just felt awesome. Yeah, it was weird. I never hit that. He took a sloppy shot. I just went with the flow. It was awesome. It's pretty pumped.
See, I wanted to say, like, his blood round his freshman year, right? But you never know as a coach because
Makes you better. Yeah.
like the blood round at state,
Yeah.
like he came up short, right, as his freshman year, and I can remember the moment that we had on a couch in the back room, and it was just like, okay, like here's your line, here's the line in the sand, like where are you gonna go, and that's what I said, like the competitor like came out over the next several years, like I got to see that, so like I don't know. I can't say that was my favorite moment with him because it's not, but
I was
semifinals
thinking-
was. You know, like that's the one I'll always remember. But I'll always also remember that other moment, right?
Yeah.
I cried.
That we got to have. Yeah, the
Couldn't
moment
stop
where you should.
crying, and it was terrible.
Man, that happens, man. I know. the
Especially
feeling.
with the seniors and stuff. Yeah.
I was explaining that to Ethan just this last week. I go, I still remember to this day the pain of losing a game in those moments. I still remember it. I go, and it doesn't change. My family was up siblings, and we're talking about it's almost like that. You hate to compare a sport thing to a loss of a loved one, but for us it was a real similar grief pain that you feel because we're such a sports family, and you're trying to talk to the kids, but it does ease. The grief goes, but it's what you do with that, the moment you get from it. So just seeing the lesson, like you're saying, from that freshman year, what you're able to take from that and use that to.
Well, that's the grieving process, right? Like that's different than other things, but the grieving process, a piece of that, there's the grieving brain, it's a book anyways. And so it's like your neurological pathways have a roadmap in your head, right? And you see and you visualize that championship or that trophy or that win always there. Then all of a sudden when that's gone, that's still there, right? That's part of that roadmap. It's just like, man, now you've got, and you don't know when that timing you're gonna cross that road and see that sign or whatever, Anyway, sorry.
No, thanks for sharing that. So now we talk about that peak match. Who was your inspiration, your role model that you had?
Exactly. Said it since my 8th grade year. He's a great guy. Comes in. I mean, he went to the military, came back, still came in the room as much as he could. It was awesome. He's a great wrestler, 4-time placer. He's just an awesome guy all around. I went to dinner with him sometimes during the season just to talk about wrestling, get my mind off things.
That's the program.
Yeah.
That's the program, right? That's your reps coming in.
And it's great, he doesn't know this, but I've got a picture of both of them when they get done after his semifinal win this year, and Zach after his semifinal win his senior year, and when they both made it to the finals, and it's like they're almost identical. And so I'll have to get to him because that's like literally the same report at the same time. Like it's identical. It's pretty cool. Both of them got their straps down. Like I don't know. Anyways,
It's gonna be again. That's that legacy and everything you want to build on. So what advice do you have to your classmates? Your teammates, the underclassmen that's been part of the wrestling program that you've been there for. What advice do you have for that next group coming up?
Work your butt off. Don't. The struggle sucks, but at the end of the day, you won't regret it, no matter what. I mean, the mat don't lie. That's my favorite thing he says, because it really don't. I mean, you can go out there, give it all you got, work hard in the room, and you'll accomplish things for sure.
So you're part of Kids Club. You've been wrestling for how many years? But
Since
right?
I was like 7,
Yeah.
I don't know. I used to keep track, but
Okay, so since 7. So what advice you have those young kids? Just like you talked about those wrestlers above you that you were able to listen to and get information from and look up to. What about those little kids that are coming in? They're in wrestling club. They're hanging out with you, doing things. What are you going to tell them?
have fun, give it your all. I don't really don't expect to be, I don't know how to say this. Hold on.
I like
Yeah, hold on. No, hold on. I've lost. Little kids used to go have fun.
Well, but I like what you said, because at first you said to the older ones, work your butt off, because you already made that decision to be there.
Yeah.
But for the young kids, you're like, have fun, enjoy it,
Yeah.
right?
Don't,
And you work your
don't
way.
stress.
Yeah,
Yeah. Don't
Enjoy
cut
it.
weight.
yeah.
Don't, yeah. Just have
Enjoy
fun.
that. I like that, because
Focus on getting better.
yeah. And then when you get into the high school program, that's when the refinement happens.
Yeah.
The love has to be there coming up through, and that's one of the things I think as parents, and we're talking about the youth sports program in general. One of the struggles is the parents become so competitive about wanting the kids to do stuff that they weren't able to do, to learn from the stuff that that I learned in 30 years that they're just now experiencing. We're thinking they need to have the same knowledge, and it makes it rough. It takes a little bit of that fun away.
Yeah, I see kids getting held back in 8th grade just so they can be older and,
Yeah.
or cutting weight when they're little, and it's just no point of that. Just get better at wrestling. Don't focus on anything else.
Like it. Good. Yeah, man. Just getting all wise and everything, man. It kind of throws me off. But we're going to be wrapping up. Before we do, I want to just acknowledge some of our sponsors because, they're great people. Appreciate everything they do.
And you said this is the 79th episode or something, right?
79th
So we're looking at
episode.
roughly 500. I mean, you start figuring out the the impact that you guys have had and for covering all sports. So thank you for what you do, and thank you to the sponsors, obviously, for allowing this to continue on, to let these athletes get recognized in the programs and the hard work that the athletes and the coaches and the student body and even the athletic office is doing, right? Like, I mean, you go in there at any time, that's always a busy office, right? They got so many things, and so for you trying to cover everybody, thank you.
No, I appreciate it. No, I have just a blast doing it. We have Angie Reese, MVP Apparel, got my Inside the Huddle, like that sweater, looking good. Got my Bulldog hat. Appreciate everything she does. Helps us look good, and something's going to help me look good. Dan Collier, not just a good neighbor, he's a great neighbor. State Farm, don't know if you know Dan. He's on the chain gang. You know Dan, right? I used to call him Dancing Dan. Phelps County Bank, 100% employee owned. Bulldog fans hanging out at night. They gotta go bank in the daytime, but they're really about the Bulldog fans. Juan Skills Academy does a lot of great work on the basketball side. Kobe Juan's two-time All-State Bulldog coaches over at Sullivan, does a lot of work with the boys side, girls side. Appreciate everything Kobe does. And Jackie Roslins? Yeah, I know Jackie. She is in full bloom. Does the nice balloon decor, party decor, rental, backdrop rental, and everything is really great for the senior signing and some of those events. So appreciate all of them. I just want to thank you so much for just what you've done here for the Rolla program. Coach Hauck, man, you've been great with not just the wrestling program, but with the kids, and helping build that up. And always appreciate everything you do to talk about with the leadership and the responsibility that has. Because it's one thing to be on the mat, it's another thing to be out there in life and use that to connect them together. So again, thank you for everything as your seniors and wrapping up an incredible career with the records and stuff that you've done. Just appreciate everything.
Thank you for having us here.
Thank you.
All right, so best of luck, everything you're going to choose to do going forward, and we'll probably wrap up again another event here before the year's done, and we'll head on from that. So for Coach Marty Hauck and our All-State wrestlers, Serenity Tilford and Kayden Kinder, I'm Tom Brown, and from Inside the Huddle to the Heart of the Game, we'll see you next time.